morning. Welcome to UUCC, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Canandaigua. We are a group of spiritual freethinkers who gather to celebrate life, build community, and better our world. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. I'm Carrie Graff, your worship associate for this morning, and the service today will be led by Reverend Sherry Halliday-Kwan. Woohoo! From First U. Thank you to everyone on this morning's worship team, including Bill Mells, who is back in the house. Woohoo! And Children's Church for Children 3 and over is going to be by Nancy Reed and Kaya Mells today. If this is your first visit, welcome. We invite you to sign the visitor's book in the entryway, and whether it's your first visit or your thousands, and we know who you are, who have been here more than 1,000 times, right, Bill? We are glad that you came. The service is also being live streamed on our YouTube channel, and we'll plan on continuing with hybrid worship services throughout the church year, so you can join us here in person, on Zoom, or later on YouTube, whatever you prefer. Oh yeah, I forgot about my announcements today. We don't have any?
I fixed it so it'd be easier, so it's the next page.
Oh, okay. So I have a few announcements to share with you today. If you have a joy or sorrow to share, please fill out one of the pieces of paper, which should be on your chair or a chair near you. And we invite you to bring them forward and place them in the basket after Bill plays the chimes, rings the chimes, and begins to play some music. You can also drop, when you come up to do that, or instead of doing that, you can also just drop a pebble into the water if you've got a joy or sorrow that you don't want to share. Okay, so now the announcements are on the next page, my little handout. So please join us today after the service for our second Sunday potluck. Whether you brought a dish to share or not, you are welcome to stay, and there's always plenty. The Social and Environmental Justice Committee meeting will meet Thursday, May 16th, so that's this coming Thursday, from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. on Zoom. All members and friends who are interested in supporting social and environmental justice are encouraged to join us. Are you new to UUism or new to this congregation, or have you been around for a bit and think you might like to be a member of the church? Join us for UU 101. Conversation on Zoom on Wednesday, May 15th, so this coming Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. And we'll talk about how Unitarian Universalism works and what belonging to this congregation looks like. And there is a link in the newsletter if you want to learn more about that. Join us for a creative everyday worship next Sunday, May 19th at 11 a.m., where anyone, even if you do not think of yourself as a creative person or even a worship person, can learn to craft powerful workshop for our church services, or an at-home spiritual practice, or making meaningful moments of your everyday life, marking them. Please sign up with the link in the newsletter so we know that you're coming. And if there are any other announcements, please come up now to share.
Hello, Brandon Steele, your friendly neighborhood board president. I'm just announcing our board meeting this Tuesday at 6:30. We're looking forward to our big June meeting coming up. We'll vote on the budget for the year and for board members coming in. So just wanted to announce that we have our board meeting coming up. If you'd like to observe or attend, reach out to me and I can send you a link to our Zoom meeting. Thank you.
You go. Oh, okay. I'm Jody Brown. I am collecting signatures on a petition to get the Independent Party back on the New York State ballot for the November election. If you're interested in signing the petition, please see me after the service.
Our own Carrie Graff, lifestyle medicine expert, is going to give another workshop June 3rd, and I would like your help advertising it. So if you live near a library in this area, if you would take one of these posters and ask them to hang it up. I have a list here so you can check off what you might be doing. Actually, the way we got most of the participants last time was through friends. So please share the link that Scarlett shared on, or no, Aaron shared on the Facebook page, or just maybe you want one of these flyers to send to a friend or tell a friend. So we'd really like to pack the place with people. Thank you.
thanks to Pat for not making me make that announcement myself. Any other announcements for the good of the community? As we prepare to be fully together, I remind you to silence anything that buzzes or beeps in your pocket or pocketbook. We now enter a space of worship. Now is the time to bring forward your joys and sorrows if you've got one to share. And now it is time to light our chalice, and I would like to invite Isabella for our chalice lighting today. Please join me in saying our chalice lighting words. We gather this hour as people of faith, joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
When I first moved to the area 5 years ago from New York City, one of the things I was most looking forward to was the New York State Fair. Now, there's a lot in the greater Rochester area and the Finger Lakes to behold and to be filled with joy by, but the New York State Fair seemed like something that, well, was just really different from my life in the big bad city. I couldn't access things like that. Sure, there's a lot that goes on at the fair, but it is, and this is 100% a farming pun, undoubtedly rooted in agriculture. That felt different, and I was so excited. I knew that there was a lot that I was going to want to see. I was told that one could potentially witness the live birth of a cow. I was really excited about the gadgets that, sure, one could see on TV, but I would be able to browse. A band would be playing. But the thing I was most excited about, the thing I had been told was set by New York State law, was the milk and chocolate milk for a quarter. That price is set by law, apparently. And the New York State Assembly refuses to change it, though that doesn't really make sense given inflation. But to the dairy extravaganza, I would go. And I had my quarters ready. My wife wasn't enthused, but she agreed. She'd come along. She'd have a glass or two of milk if I insisted. It turns out she has a dairy allergy now, and that was rude of me. But finally, we arrived. And like any good festival, I noticed that the first dispensers, the people taking quarters, were just throbbed with people. But if you went around the back, there was no line at all. And so I moved my body around to get my milk efficiently, when suddenly I was overcome with the sight of something that somehow everyone I had ever talked to about this had failed to mention. Some of you already know. I see that look of recognition in your eyes. It's the butter sculpture. I don't know what I had understood butter sculptures to be, but something my size and bigger, a whole diorama of butter, a full family doing homework, sitting at a table, sitting at a computer, blew my mind. The idea of making technology out of butter wasn't something I had ever expected. And I think this is why we come to church. We come here because if we are open to it, if we come seeking something, are often delighted and surprised to find something completely unexpected that opens our lives and possibilities to something that, well, others have been working on for a very long time. And the table is already set for us. So I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join me in our opening hymn.
Our opening hymn this morning is number 1000. It's the teal hymnal. It is the very first hymn. Morning has come.
Got too excited about this story. It's A Curious Case of Stripes by David Shannon, and it's a story about a young girl named Camilla Cream. Camilla Cream loved lima beans. And doesn't that just have a delicious ring to it? Camilla Cream loved lima beans, but most kids don't, and they told her so. And Camilla Cream pretended not to like lima beans because it was decidedly uncool. It was weird to like lima beans. I know the feeling. Camilla Cream loved lima beans, but she didn't like to be laughed at or teased, and so she pretended not to like them. One day at school, she noticed as she looked down at her perfectly regular clothes and her non-lima bean-filled lunch that, well, she seemed to have some stripes on the edge of her shirt. She went home noticing her pants had become a little striped too. She went to bed hoping everything would be fine, and then, well, in the morning she woke up and found herself completely covered in stripes. Her face was striped, her toes were striped, her fingernails were striped. Her mother walked in and screamed. This was not how she had looked the day before. And so Camilla stayed home from school and went to the doctor. And the doctor asked her how she felt. Fine, mostly. She didn't have a fever. She wasn't coughing. She just looked a bit funny. And so she went to school, and as you might imagine, that didn't go so well. The other kids laughed and pointed and wondered why she looked so strange. Striped was not how they had seen anyone before. She couldn't bear the thought of going to school the next day. And soon she found herself just mobbed by specialists. Doctors of every kind, historians, soon the journalists had descended upon her. The specialists all had different ideas of what might help her. Take one of these and call us in the morning, except for these were so many very different kinds of pills, so many different kinds of treatment. The journalists all wanted to interview her. How had she become this way? How did she feel about it? What did her mother think? None of it was very pleasant for this little girl. One day, while going to the park when it was a little bit dark so that her stripes would not be seen, an old woman approached her mother and said, "I think I might know the answer." They'd heard this before and they were skeptical. Lots of us have problems that other people want to solve. But, well, they had nothing to lose, I guess. Camilla Cream was striped for good, it seemed. And this old woman asked Camilla what she liked most in the world. And she started to list all sorts of things. Her mother, her cat, good weather, flowers, lima beans, and then, well, oh no, of course I don't like lima beans. Nobody likes lima beans. And went on to talk about other things that she liked: sweaters that cover my stripes, socks that cover my stripes, glasses so that I don't have to see people looking at my stripes. And the old lady said, "Well, I happen to have a pocket of lima beans. Would you like some, Camilla Cream?" Now, we've all heard stories about strangers and beans and strangers offering things to you. And Camilla Cream thought, no, wait a minute, I've heard this story before. But she had never heard a story about children with stripes, so she thought, what do I have to lose? And gobbled up all of the lima beans and loved them, and the stripes were gone. And from then on, Camilla Cream, just as she was, would have no one tell her what to like or not like. Camilla Cream loved lima beans, or so says David Shannon.
Who here likes lima beans?
All right.
Now is the time in our service to join together in the spiritual practice of generosity. Our gifts of both time and money support our church and its work. Each week, we'd like to spotlight a group or committee and thank them for their gift of time. And this week, we are going to put a shout out to the grounds crew. And if you are interested in signing up to help kind of clean up for the spring and make the place look beautiful, there's a sign-up sheet on the fridge in the kitchen. So you're going to be going right past it as you're doing potluck later. So feel free to sign up. And it's Lynn Cronice who is heading that group, and she is not with us today. But her contact information is on the fridge on the sign-up form. It does say 2023, but it's for this year too. Okay, so 1/4 of our plate collection for the blooming season goes to Planned Parenthood of Central and Western New York. Planned Parenthood health centers provide a wide range of services, mainly preventive care, including birth control, testing, and treatment for STDs, and screenings for cervical and other cancers. At Planned Parenthood, their mission is to ensure all people have access to the care and resources they need to make informed decisions about their bodies, their lives, and their futures. So you can give to this morning's offering by placing cash or a check into a basket, which will be coming around at some point, or by one of the options available on the screen. Please make a note that your gift is intended for today's offering, and we now gratefully accept the offering. And now it's time for joys and sorrows. And Dorothy is remembering Helen Hoskins, who made a great role model for being a lively elder. Bob and Nancy, as well as many of us, are celebrating that Bob celebrated his 89th birthday on Friday, including with a bagpiper. It was amazing, very cool. And also that his son Doug is here. Laura Wink has a huge joy in her heart for her best friend's daughter, Grace, graduating magna cum laude and is aspiring to be a dentist who serves people who are deaf and hearing impaired. And they're particularly close because Grace stayed with them during the COVID quarantine. So I will drop one more pebble into our column of water to symbolize any joys and sorrows that remain unspoken in our hearts. And if you can please say with me, we are with you. We are with you. And now it is time to send off any children who would like to go downstairs. Go now in peace. Go now in peace. May the love of all surround you everywhere, everywhere you may
So we'll begin our time of centering and meditation with an embodied prayer. So I invite you to either stand or remain seated and use your body in however way aligns with what I'm doing, but modified for what feels good for you. So if you'd like to just settle in nice and solid, allowing either your body to feel grounded with your seat or your feet. Raising your arms up toward the sky as if you are vertically striped joyfully. And opening your arms with palms up, receiving all of the lima beans or treats that are for you. And turning your palms toward the ground, planting seeds for others and moving that toward the earth, and then scooping up just enough that you need and pressing it into your heart. We're going to repeat this 2 more times, once more with fewer words and then in silence. Up toward the sky, coming down with palms up, moving your palms toward the ground, scooping enough, pressing into your heart. If you're standing, you may be seated. I invite you to join me in the spirit of prayer, knowing that means many things to many people, and that our bodies, our breath, our presence, and our witness here, our attention here, is a gift that connects one another to this earth and to that which is most sacred. Spirit of life, God of many names, no name at all, and one abundant love. It is a gift to be here on Sunday morning. It is a complicated gift to be here on Mother's Day. We hold in love all those who parent, all those who bring forth life, all those who have said no, who have said yes, who have loved deeply, who have wished they could have been loved differently or given love differently. Here, held by the mother of us all, this green planet, may we know that we are held in the palm of love. May all those who are wrestling with grief or loneliness, illness of mind or body, addiction, or simply wanting something different, be held in love. May we find our hearts open to new springs, to new leaves and shoots, to all that life offers us. May these connections and the threads that hold us all in the web of creation be nourishing. May it be so. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be. I invite you to join me in a shared silence. I want to begin by just thanking all of you for having me here today. It's a joy to continue our relatively new tradition of a three-church pulpit swap. And it's just always a joy to be with you, but specifically to follow the Reverend Lane May Reed Campbell, who was here with you last week, and then to know that right now your minister, Reverend Eileen, is now part of the fullest embodiment of our pulpit swap, completely accidentally, but our choir at First Unitarian is at First Universalist today, as is Reverend Eileen. And so, totally accidentally, those three bodies coming together holds part of what we're all doing. Reverend Lane May Reed, of course, is at my congregation, and I am with all of you. And the people of First Unitarian send their greetings and their joy at being able to join in this with all of you. Now, this three-church exchange, the work that we've been doing with our small group packets and worship brainstorms and themes, it's the culmination, or maybe just the beginning, of a journey in which we collaborate joyfully. But I have to admit, it's easier because Reverend Eileen and Reverend Lane May Reed are delightful people. We'd commit to this practice, of course, if my colleagues were less so, but truth be told, it's simply just not a burden to come here with all of you and to collaborate with Bill, who's a joy to lead worship with. We found our way into not just professional connections, but also friendships, which led Reverend Lane May Reed, who again was with you all last week, the minister of First Universalist, to name as their New Year's resolution a few years ago the hope that they would say yes to me more. I was delighted by this. And Reverend Eileen joined in saying, oh yeah, I think that's a great idea. It may lead you to trouble sometimes or doing things that are very embarrassing for you, but I think it'll be good for you. You should say yes to Sherry more. You see, Reverend Lane May Reed is excellent at what they do, as is Reverend Eileen, but Reverend Lane May Reed is somebody who likes to know what they're getting into and doesn't tend to do things that are unexpected or embarrassing. Specifically, they were thinking about every time we go to Red Wings games together, there's just something about minor league baseball that brings out the kid in me. And each time we go, I make them come with me to take a picture with the mascots. We're adults, they say. We did this last time, they say. It's raining, they say. The mascots aren't together. Can't we just do it with one of them, they say? No, 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 I say each time. It's not that it's tradition, it's that this time it will bring you some joy. They weren't convinced, but over years of friendship, they decided, why not try out saying yes? Why not try out saying, sure, I'll do this dumb thing with you. What happened to your joy? I asked Lane May Reed one day when they talked about not wanting to go take a picture with me and 2 Red Wings mascots. It's a pretty intense question, but that's something ministers like to do when they get together. We're insufferable to hang out with. If not, what happened to your joy, you might get questions like, what is time? Or what songs shall we sing at your memorial service? What happened to your joy, Lane May Reed? I wanted to know. And they weren't terribly pleased about this, but they took the question seriously. And then, insufferably, they asked me, what happened to your joy, Sherry? They said it as they were making sure, as we came together to lead worship, that my mic was off during the singing parts. Carrie said to me at the beginning of this service, or beginning of the time of the service, which wasn't quite the beginning of the service. There are really 3 things here about church. We don't start the service on time, we drink coffee, and we all sing, even if we suck. Which I appreciate, because not every congregation is like that. And the truth of the matter is, if you ask me what happened to my joy, as Lane May Reed did, it's that I'm bad at singing. Early in my life, I learned that my singing, it does not do glory to God. I don't know who said it first, but I know it was said a few times, like, song doesn't really go that way. And if not singing, somehow it happened too with drawing and painting. How many of you have ever had someone help you understand that you're not good at something artistic? Quite a few of you. Most of us, in fact, have had an experience where somehow early in our life, we were told that something creative, something that brought us joy, was something that we were not good at, as if that was ever the point. Sure, if you're a professional, you'd want to be good at it, but most of us aren't singing professionally. Most of us aren't making music or art professionally. Most of us, quite frankly, aren't Bill. What happened to your joy? I let it hide away when someone told me it wasn't good enough. Julia Cameron, in The Artist's Way, talks of this experience of hiding away creativity and creation as just a way of being in the world. It doesn't have to happen, and yet it does. Even the professional artists among us find that our tastes, our joy, our delight becomes shaped by the things that we should have done, or the things that we think will please others. Our universalist theology, our very own theological heritage, tells us that, well, singing not being to the glory of God is actually not in our theology at all. Think what you want about God or glory, but that there is a place where we might sing together is in fact what church is all about. It's no wonder that I find myself in a profession where being bad at singing means that I might not lead the hymns, but it certainly doesn't mean I shouldn't sing. It's no wonder, perhaps, that I found myself married to an opera singer, seeking out music in every way, but professionally, excellently. What happened to my joy? Moving to this area and attending the New York State Fair was a bigger deal even than the opening words suggested. Yes, it was a delight to see a computer and a family sculpted out of butter. Yes, it was a delight to see a dining room table and silverware and a flower arrangement sculpted out of this unexpected medium. But so unexpected this form was to me that I found myself deep in the weirdest parts of COVID, quarantine, and isolation, realizing that, well, nobody had ever told me that I was bad at butter sculpting. Nobody had ever told me anything about butter sculpting at all. And so on one faithful rainy day, I YouTubed how to butter sculpt, smashed 2 sticks of butter together, and went to work like a real nerd, making a flaming chalice out of butter. My wife didn't say it was good, exactly, but so delighted by this unexpected gift of creation that both of us were, that it sat in the middle of our dining room table for like 5 days before we decided that was too disgusting and needed to move it, before the chalice started to sag a little bit because, well, we were eating it as we went. To talk of joy and a melting sculpture, it seems silly, but that's absolutely the point. Children have access to joy in a way that many of us find ourselves envious and jealous of. And yet, so many of us dismiss and disparage joy and happiness as childish. Now, joy and happiness are different, to be sure, as are pleasure, but the idea of guilty pleasures is something that most of us have become habituated to joining together, that pleasure and joy and happiness might be something we feel guilty about. It's a thing that this sermon and this season asks us to pull apart. May our joy be unabashed, unembarrassed, unashamed. What Lane May Reed knew in making their New Year's resolution, saying yes to me more, was not that I had better or more frequent access to joy, but simply that I am more embarrassing than they are, more likely to give in to that which is embarrassing, to be unabashed in ways that do not harm others, in ways that only open up us to life. Julia Cameron, writing in The Artist's Way, not only talks about how so often we lose our access to joy, but she offers anecdotes. She talks of artist dates. An artist date, and to be clear, an artist date is not only for those who consider themselves artists, but for all who wish to partake in creation and creativity. An artist date is something that you have to do alone. You have to do alone because what's necessary is that you shed any shoulds or opinions from other people about what might be good or worthy. An artist state invites you to spend some time doing something you think you might enjoy. Not something you have enjoyed in the past but no longer, not something you think you should enjoy, but something that might offer you joy. It may not. It may be something that's ultimately unsuccessful. It's okay. You'll go on another artist date. But attending a movie or going outside or seeing a concert, these are all possibilities for artist dates. But the point is you go alone and open yourself to what is, taking in what you like, leaving what you don't like, and filling your own well. Because each of us is called to the act of creation. Each of us is called to open ourselves to joy. So I invite you to turn to a neighbor and just name one thing that you think you might like. One thing that might bring you joy. Just name it aloud and hear the other person's. Offer no opinion, wait for no response. Simply say out loud a thing that might bring you delight. All right, I'm going to bring us back together because I know some of the groups were bigger than 2, and it's hard not to comment, for better or worse, on what someone else is planning to do. Oh, well, maybe planning to do wasn't what you were anticipating. I don't mean to trick you, but of course, my hope here is by having said something out loud, you might find a way to incorporate some small part of it into your life. To take yourself on an artist's date, to find your way into scraping off a little bit of the abashed, embarrassed shame or hindrance that we seem to accumulate along the way. Here on this Mother's Day, I will acknowledge that so many of us have been told that, well, we're bad at singing by our very own children. Shake it off. Let it go. Find yourself a part of the co-creation of the universe. This life is too big and too joyful for us to not be full participants in it. May joy be yours. May the practice, the hard-earned openness to that which life offers us be yours. Amen, and blessed be. Sorry, the order's different at my church. Go sculpting the life that you wish to lead. Go knowing that butter and joy have lots of room for forgiveness. This life is softer than we could possibly imagine. Can be resculpted again and again, offering new hope, new possibility, and new life. Go in peace and love.
Our closing hymn this morning is a hymn that Reverend Sherry knows. It's called Joy in the Morning, and it has repeats, and I'll just call out the words to you as it goes along. The first verse is, we'll find joy in the morning, joy in the morning, joy in the morning we'll find joy. Please rise as you're willing and able, and I'll play you the song like this.
Our chalice extinguishing words.